Mount Etna, Europe's most active volcano, has entered a new eruptive phase, leading authorities to raise the alert level from yellow to red. This sharp escalation follows a series of rapid developments, including the intense rise of ash clouds, increasingly vigorous lava activity, and heightened seismic signals beneath the volcano. The eruption was triggered by significant magma movement and a sequence of seismic tremors. These events have caused a dramatic visual display, with glowing lava fountains, towering ash plumes, and continuous eruptions occurring from multiple craters.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
The eruption began on December 24th, initially with scattered strombolian bursts, violent bursts of gas and ash. However, by December 27th, the activity had intensified, with lava fountains shooting upwards of 400 meters and ash columns soaring to altitudes of more than 12 kilometers. As the eruption escalated, authorities swiftly responded by issuing aviation warnings. Airports in the region were temporarily closed, and flight paths were rerouted to avoid the hazards posed by the ash clouds. The situation has sparked significant concern, not only for the local population, but also for air travel across the globe, given how quickly volcanic ash can disrupt air traffic. Seismic data from monitoring stations around the volcano have shown clear signs of magma movement beneath the surface. Tremors and shallow earthquakes indicate a buildup of pressure within the volcano. This is crucial information, as it suggests that the eruption could continue to escalate or, in the best-case scenario, stabilize. However, the unpredictable nature of volcanic eruptions makes it impossible to accurately predict the future behavior of the volcano. Monitoring stations are therefore on high alert, using real-time seismic data, satellite imagery, and field observations to track developments as they unfold. Historically, Mount Etna has had eruptions that lasted for weeks, sometimes causing widespread destruction. A particularly significant eruption in 2001 saw lava flows that disrupted infrastructure for months. Airports were closed, ski lifts were destroyed, and nearby villages had to be evacuated as lava flows threatened homes and businesses. The economic impact of such eruptions can be immense, with costs running into hundreds of millions of euros, and the scars on the landscape and local communities can last for years. In response to these threats, emergency response teams have been preparing for the worst. In previous eruptions, such as in 2001, diversion barriers were used to slow the flow of lava, protecting valuable infrastructure and communities. However, the nature of volcanic eruptions remains unpredictable. Despite having advanced technology and monitoring systems, there is always a degree of uncertainty about how and when the eruption might escalate. The ability to respond quickly to these changes is critical, and authorities have already activated their emergency protocols to evacuate residents from areas that could be in harm's way. The current eruption, while still ongoing, has not yet caused significant damage or casualties. However, the situation remains tense, and there is a real possibility that the eruption could intensify in the coming hours or days. The scientific community is carefully watching the situation, noting that tremor levels and seismic activity are key indicators of whether the eruption will continue to grow in intensity or possibly stabilize. While volcanic eruptions are difficult to predict, the fact that Mount Etna has been so active in recent years means that authorities and scientists are better prepared to respond to these types of events. The coming 48 hours are critical for assessing how this eruption will evolve. Experts are considering three main possibilities. The activity could stabilize, the eruption could escalate further, or new fissures could form, potentially creating additional hazards. Each of these scenarios carries its own risks. If the eruption continues to grow in strength, the danger of lava flows reaching more populated areas increases. If new vents open up, they could alter the direction of the lava, potentially causing damage to areas that were previously considered safe. The eruption could also slow down, providing some relief to nearby communities and air traffic. The lessons of past eruptions cannot be forgotten. Mount Etna has shown time and again that it can rapidly change from a relatively calm volcano into a violent and destructive force. The 2001 eruption serves as a reminder of the power of this volcano and the devastation it can cause. Villages like Milo and Piano Provenzano have been particularly vulnerable to lava flows, with emergency evacuation measures having to be put into place. These events highlight not only the immediate risks posed by the volcano but also the long-term economic and social consequences of volcanic activity.
If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment. Your feedback helps shape what we cover next, and you being here keeps the conversation going. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.
The response efforts underway are focused on monitoring, evacuation, and preventing further damage to infrastructure. Civil protection teams, geologists, and emergency responders are working around the clock to ensure that the most effective measures are in place to protect both human life and critical infrastructure. However, even with all the advanced technology at our disposal, the inherent unpredictability of volcanic behavior remains a challenge. As the eruption continues, the role of continuous monitoring becomes even more crucial. By using seismic data, satellite feeds, and real-time observations, scientists can track the volcano's behavior with great precision. This allows them to issue timely warnings and inform the public about the evolving situation. But even with all these tools at their disposal, scientists are unable to fully predict what will happen next. The situation could stabilize, the eruption could escalate, or new vents could open. The ongoing monitoring of the volcano is essential in helping to understand these changes as they occur. The future remains uncertain, but one thing is clear. Mount Etna's unpredictability requires constant vigilance. The lessons learned from past eruptions and the ongoing scientific research provide valuable insights into how we can better prepare for future events. For those living in the shadow of Mount Etna, as well as for the international community, understanding the risks and staying informed is crucial. The importance of preparedness cannot be overstated, as volcanic eruptions have a wide-reaching impact, from local infrastructure to global air travel. While there have been no injuries or major infrastructure damage reported in this current episode, the potential for escalation remains. As the eruption continues to unfold, authorities, scientists, and residents are on high alert, watching for any signs of further activity. With each eruption, we learn more about how to respond to the dynamic and unpredictable forces of nature. Keeping the public informed and ensuring that emergency systems are in place to mitigate the risks is the key to managing the threats posed by Mount Etna and similar active volcanoes worldwide. Stay tuned for the latest updates on this ongoing eruption, and make sure to follow any official guidance from authorities and scientists. The situation is evolving rapidly, and it's essential to remain cautious and prepared. If you found this update informative, don't forget to like, share, and comment your thoughts below. Subscribe for more real-time news and in-depth analyses. Stay safe and informed. Mount Etna, the towering giant of Europe, has proven once again why it's regarded as one of the most active volcanoes in the world. With its recent eruption, it's thrust itself back into the global spotlight, reminding everyone just how powerful and unpredictable nature can be. For those who live in the shadow of this great volcano, life has always been lived with the knowledge that at any moment, it could wake up and change everything. And with the latest eruption, that is exactly what has happened. Mount Etna has woken up with a fury that has left authorities scrambling to deal with the consequences. In just a matter of days, the situation went from mild bursts of volcanic activity to full-blown eruptions, complete with lava fountains reaching hundreds of meters into the air. This dramatic shift in intensity has led to the raising of the volcanic alert level from yellow to red. The suddenness of this change speaks to the raw power of Etna and its ability to go from dormant to explosive in the blink of an eye. It's a reminder that no matter how much we think we understand about volcanoes, their behavior can always surprise us. By December 24th, Mount Etna had already started showing signs of activity, with scattered bursts of ash and gas. But by December 27th, things took a sharp turn. Lava fountains began shooting up to 400 meters into the sky, and ash columns reached altitudes well over 12 kilometers. These massive plumes of ash are not just impressive to look at, they also pose serious risks. The ash can affect air traffic by creating hazards for flights, and airports in the region had to be temporarily closed to ensure the safety of travelers. Rerouted flights added another layer of complexity as the global aviation network adjusted to the new volcanic threat. The volcanic activity is not just a spectacle, it's also a signal of something much more serious happening beneath the surface. The tremors and seismic activity being recorded by monitoring stations are proof that magma is actively moving beneath the volcano. These tremors are like the warning signs of an earthquake, but with the added danger of molten rock pushing its way to the surface. The earthquake-like events only increase the tension, as they suggest that the eruption could continue to intensify. There's no telling exactly what will happen next, whether the eruption will stabilize, escalate further, or even form new vents that could shift the lava flows in unpredictable ways. Each of these possibilities carries its own set of risks, which only heightens the uncertainty for everyone in the region. As this eruption unfolds, it's not hard to remember the past eruptions that have caused such devastation in the past. The eruption in 2001 is a prime example of just how destructive Etna can be. Back then, lava flows destroyed infrastructure, closed airports, and led to the evacuation of entire villages. The impact was felt far beyond the immediate area around the volcano. With Etna's reputation for unpredictable eruptions, it's no surprise that authorities are taking every precaution now to avoid a repeat of such devastation. In 2001, efforts to divert the lava flows through the construction of barriers helped minimize the damage, but not without a significant cost. Airports were closed for weeks, ski resorts were forced to shut down, and businesses around the affected areas lost millions in revenue. The human cost, too, was high, as people were forced to leave their homes and livelihoods behind as the threat of lava flows loomed large. The economic damage reached hundreds of millions of euros, and the scars of that eruption are still visible in the landscape today. In light of the current eruption, the response efforts are already well underway. Civil protection teams, scientists, and emergency responders are working tirelessly to monitor the situation and ensure that the right measures are in place to protect lives and property. These teams are using every tool at their disposal, from real-time seismic data and satellite imagery to on-the-ground observations, to track the volcano's behavior as closely as possible. But even with the best technology, there is no way to predict exactly how things will unfold. As of now, there have been no major injuries or infrastructure damage, but the situation remains volatile. It's possible that the eruption could subside in the coming days, or it could escalate to a level that causes significant damage to nearby communities and air traffic. No one can say for certain what will happen. The experts are keeping a close eye on the seismic readings, watching for any signs that the situation is shifting in one direction or another. The fact that the eruption is being closely monitored by scientists gives some hope that there will be time to react and take preventive action if necessary. But there's always that lingering sense of uncertainty that comes with natural disasters. The coming 48 hours are critical. Experts are weighing 3 potential scenarios for the eruption's trajectory. The most optimistic possibility is that the volcanic activity could stabilize, with the eruption tapering off into something more manageable. The second scenario is that the eruption could continue to escalate, with more intense lava flows and the potential for widespread disruption. The third, and most concerning, is that new vents could open up, directing the lava in unexpected directions. This would further complicate the efforts to protect communities and infrastructure from the advancing flows. For those living near Mount Etna, there's no way to ignore the threat that the volcano represents. Villages like Milo and Piano Provenzano have been especially vulnerable in the past, and many residents know all too well what it's like to be forced into evacuation. The stress of not knowing if the lava will reach your home is a constant reminder of the dangers of living near an active volcano. While there is no immediate threat to life at the moment, the situation remains fluid, and anything could change in the blink of an eye. The unpredictability of volcanic behavior is what makes Mount Etna both fascinating and terrifying. Despite the best efforts of scientists to predict eruptions, there is still so much we don't know about how volcanoes work. The technology we have today, including seismic stations and satellite monitoring, is invaluable in tracking eruptions, but it can't guarantee that we will always know what's coming next. That's why it's so important to stay vigilant and prepared. As we've seen in the past, things can change rapidly, and those who are prepared have a much better chance of staying safe. The scientific community continues to study Mount Etna's behavior, and each eruption brings new lessons. With every new eruption, there's a deeper understanding of how volcanoes like Etna behave, how magma moves beneath the surface, and how seismic signals can be interpreted to predict future events. This knowledge is invaluable not only for the people living near Etna but for communities around the world who live in the shadow of active volcanoes. The more we understand about volcanoes, the better equipped we'll be to deal with their unpredictable nature. For now, all eyes are on Mount Etna. Authorities are taking every possible precaution to protect lives and infrastructure, while scientists continue to monitor the situation closely. The eruption may subside, or it may escalate. There's no way to know for sure. But one thing is certain, The world is watching, and the people of Sicily are once again reminded of the raw power of the natural world. The situation surrounding Mount Etna remains in a delicate balance, and the next few days could be critical in determining the severity of this eruption. With every passing hour, the volcano's behavior grows more unpredictable, and the tension surrounding it continues to mount. The tremors, the towering ash clouds, and the ominous glow of molten lava all serve as stark reminders that Etna is far from finished with its violent outburst. The rapid escalation from yellow to red alert only amplifies the urgency and danger felt by both locals and authorities. As the eruption progresses, there's a growing sense of unease in the nearby villages. While many of the residents are accustomed to Etna's temperamental nature, this particular eruption has a different feeling to it. The unpredictability of the eruption's path is what makes it so frightening. Authorities have already begun evacuations in high-risk areas, trying to stay one step ahead of the advancing lava flows. But no amount of preparation can fully eliminate the fear that comes with living so close to an active volcano. Today, the fear of history repeating itself hangs heavy in the air. The question on everyone's mind is how far the lava will travel, how high the ash clouds will rise, and when, if ever, the eruption will slow down. In moments like these, the only certainty is that things can change in an instant. One moment, the eruption could seem manageable. The next, it could escalate into something much worse. The unpredictability of volcanic behavior is what makes these events so difficult to plan for, and why authorities are urging caution. Scientists, meanwhile, are monitoring the situation through every available means: seismic data, satellite imagery, and even physical field observations. These tools allow them to gauge the intensity of the eruption and better understand the forces at work beneath the surface. But even with all the technology in the world, there's no surefire way to predict what Mount Etna will do next. The magma may find new paths, new vents may open, and the eruption could continue to grow, or it could start to die down. There is no clear answer, only educated guesses based on the data they have. As the eruption continues, the global community watches closely, knowing that Mount Etna is more than just a volcano. It's a force of nature that can change lives in an instant. The world's attention is fixed on this eruption, hoping for the best while bracing for the worst. It's a reminder of how fragile we are in the face of nature's raw power, and how, no matter how much we prepare, we are always at the mercy of the earth itself. In the end, the only thing we can do is remain vigilant, stay informed, and continue to support the people who are living through this terrifying event. The eruption is far from over, and the outcome remains uncertain. For now, all we can do is watch, wait, and hope that Mount Etna's fury will soon subside. Thanks so much for watching. If you made it all the way to the end, you're officially part of the small percentage of people who don't just click away, and that means a lot. Before you go, I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below and tell me your thoughts, your ideas, or even what you'd like to see next. I read every single one of them, and your feedback genuinely shapes the direction of this channel. If you enjoyed the video, tap that like button. It tells YouTube this content is worth sharing. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next upload. We've got more exciting videos coming, and trust me, you'll want to be here for them. This channel is just getting started, and your support helps it grow faster than you realize. Thank you again for spending a part of your day here with me. Stay curious, stay motivated, and as always, take care of yourself. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.